town under threat. Can Weston survive without its pier?
And in other news, a body is recovered from the Severn in a search for the missing 10-year-old boy.
Well, the hoses are still spraying, as you can see, cooling the tangled wreckage of what was once the jewel in the crown of this much-loved seaside resort.
Weston-super-Mare sees millions of visitors every year. Today is the first day of the school summer holidays, and the beaches were still packed, but for a very different reason that has left this iconic view changed just beyond recognition. Scott Ellis reports.
This is one of the very first images of the Grand Pier Inferno, and the scene 1 hour later, 100 years of seaside memories engulfed and obliterated. Robert Tinkers worked here for more than 40 years. He was first on the scene.
And we managed to get the gas cylinders out of the back of the workshops, which could have been a danger to the fire brigade. So we whisked them away and got them on the trolley and pushed them back down the pier, by which time it was getting very hot. The whole front of the pier was alight.
Very soon, Points West was receiving hundreds of pictures and films of the fire. Many couldn't believe the speed at which the flames spread.
The smoke looked so black and toxic, and it was just disappearing in front of my eyes.
The newly upgraded Pavilion Arcade has been totally destroyed. The fire started in one of its 4 towers, where it's known there were deep fat fryers. It's not known if that was the cause, but fire officers say there was no sprinkler system. They had little chance of saving Weston's iconic pier.
Once a fire takes hold in a building like that, and bear in mind we're operating virtually a quarter of a mile from land there, it can be extremely easy to lose a building fairly quickly. But our staff did a fantastic job in containing it where it was.
Close up you get that acrid smell of fire and destruction. It's really sickly, but even worse is the sight here of the sea at Weston-super-Mare. It's just full of all the debris from the pavilion being washed up on the beach. It really is a very, very sad sight. Looking further up, you can see the firemen damping down there, and there is a hole in the pier. The fire's gone right through all the wood, the iron and the steel that made up the amusement arcade. But the good news is the iron legs of the pier that have been here for over a century seem to be still standing and still strong. So there's hope yet that the pier could be rebuilt. Nonetheless, Weston's famous view has gone. The postcard image just a charred memory.
It was quite scary to see, all the flames, the smoke, everything, all the banging from the gas canisters going off, all that sort of stuff.
It's a bit of a shock, isn't it, really? Weston's got nothing left now. Pier's gone, that's it, really.
Once the wreckage stops smouldering, the engineers will move in and assess the strength of the structure of the Grand Pier. She seems to have survived an inferno that Weston will never forget.
Police vehicles are still down there. You can see holidaymakers gone to the edge of the water, still maybe trying to get a little bit of the pier themselves as they take in what's been such an emotional day. In the last half hour, we've had a statement, in actual fact, from Kerry Michael, who is the pier's owner, and this is what he had to say.
When we purchased the Grand Pier in February of this year, we regarded ourselves as custodians rather than owners. We were just looking after it for the future generations to enjoy. For this tragic event to have taken place during our watch is truly devastating. I feel very sorry for all our dedicated staff, many of whom have been on the pier all their working lives. They treasured the pier, in particular the main pavilion, and I don't know how they're going to come to terms with this very sad loss. I feel very sorry for the people of Weston. The pier was Weston, and Weston was the pier. In these difficult economic times, I sincerely hope that this event doesn't bring further hardship to those businesses and people who rely on our tourist trade. I would like to assure all these people that I've mentioned, as well as any others that may be affected, that we will work tirelessly to restore this magnificent structure to its former glory.
Well, let's hope so. Well, we're joined now by Kevin Pearson, who's the Chief Fire Officer for Avon Fire and Rescue. You've had a very busy day, Kevin. What have been your biggest challenges?
Probably the biggest challenge was very early this morning when first attending crews tried to run hose lines along the length of the pier. The radiated heat was significant, really intense radiated heat. I was down there early on, and even within 50, 60 yards of the building, the radiated heat was very, very difficult. The crews worked extremely hard and battled to get those hose lines and get those jets into position to stop the fire spreading any further down the pier. So I'm really pleased with the work they did early on this morning.
It's obviously still smouldering, as we could just see by some of our shots. How soon do you think it'll be before investigators can actually get inside?
Well, we're still working in conjunction with structural engineers, making an assessment of the stability of the structure that does remain. We're not going to put anybody in there unless we're absolutely convinced that it's safe to do so. So we're probably going to be looking at trying to get the fire investigation team in there sometime tomorrow morning.
Any early indications of how it started? They're saying it was in the western part, some first witnesses who saw it. Is that what you believe?
Well, at this stage, you're right. We've got some good witness accounts of where they believe the fire has started. In that area, we know there were some cooking appliances, some deep fat fryers and the like. We haven't been able yet to get people in to do a more detailed forensic examination of that particular bit of the building, but that's what we're intending to do tomorrow. At this stage, we haven't ruled anything in, we haven't ruled anything out. We're going to do a more detailed investigation tomorrow.
OK, Kevin Pearson, thanks very much. John.
Well, down here on Weston Beach, up close, well, as close as we can safely get to the pier, it's been an attraction for all the wrong reasons today. Still, there have been many thousands of people crowded on this beach. When the news broke this morning, many will have had memories of what a wonderful time they spent on this beach. Shock, I suppose, sadness, disbelief really has been the sense that's been expressed to me throughout the day, especially for one woman who spent her wedding day on the pier 63 days ago today.
I woke up this morning and I thought, oh, it's our 63rd anniversary today, or it would be our 63rd anniversary. And with that, the sirens were going, and I looked out the window, and my son rang me and he said, have you looked out your window? He said, it's a massive flames. Anyway, it was gutted. It was already gutted.
I took my kids on air about 3 weeks ago. You know, I'd been on air before myself as a kid, and now I'm taking my kids. And obviously their kids won't be taking their kids, will they? So it's just a bit of a shock, to be honest.
My family laugh at me because they say that I am so patriotic, and I'm really proud of being a Westonian, and it's just so hard to see.
Oh, I feel very emotional, yes. Very, very shaky at this moment. I feel that this is Weston-super-Mare, the pier. On our walks, always admired it in the evening, lit up. We didn't even get to the new bar, which we wanted to do.
We walked on the pier when he was on leave for a short time. Went on the pier, walked on, they were playing the music. It's just lovely memories, lovely memories.
Went on the go-karts the other day because they got new go-karts up there. I was only on them the other day, like, they're wicked. And then to find out they've all just been burnt down, it's unbelievable.
Devastated, absolutely devastated. We feel like it's bereavement.
It was strange walking up past the arcades, and you usually see the big shell of the pier, and walking up and it's not there. It's just a bit surreal, isn't it?
Yeah, you just take things for granted that that's always going to be in your eye line when you're walking
up through,
and it just wasn't there. You know, and looking at it now, just a crumpled mess.
It's a mess, isn't it?
You know?
Yeah, absolute mess.
100 years just gone in a few hours, like, you know, it's going to devastate this town.
You know, as you stand here, you have to keep kind of looking at it. At first glance, you really can't take it in. It is such a total tangle of metal up there. All day long, I think you've felt the same. You've been sending us in your photographs and videos of the fire as well. If you want to have a look at the ones that have been sent in, they're on the website, which is bbc.co.uk/Somerset. And thank you very much to everyone who sent those pictures in. It's certainly been a very dramatic scene in Weston today. We are going to be back with you very shortly when we'll be looking back at the pier's history and finding out from local businesses whether they'll cope without it. But for now, we're going back to the studio where Amanda has the rest of today's news. Amanda.